So there is a lot of uncertainty in the environment right now, as we would say in business speak. But there's a lot of things that are going on in many different countries at this moment, and particularly with global instability. And there's a lot that's going on. And every year there's a lot that's going on, but some years there's more than others. And I wanted to talk about, how to deal with this. Because I think it's challenging, right? So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Masek. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. You have to forgive me a little bit. I'm just walking to my car, and then I'll hop in the car and chat to you along the way. But there's a lot that's going on. So it's 2022. We just, fingers crossed, we're nearing the end of a global pandemic, and it looks like within a matter of days that Russia is going to invade the Ukraine. Canada just declared a state of emergency because there's protests that are going on, and there's just a whole lot of stuff that's been going on over the last few years here in America. Culture wars, and it's all very, very much related. All of these things are very correlated together, related to some really interesting politics that have happened basically since 2000, the financial crisis, where things have evolved in a unusual way, I would say. But, what we have to realize is that global instability, or instability in general, is almost should be the default. And when we have moments of calmness, that's actually when we have a tremendous amount of prosperity, is when things are calm. And the reason is, people don't realize this, it has less to do with growth, but more to do with, calmness makes people okay to make large purchases. And the more that we're okay to make these large purchases, the more innovation we're going to have, more industrial production we're going to have, and the more growth we're going to have. And when we're uncertain about the future, people make a lot of decisions to say, I don't want to be part of that, right? And it can be very subtle that you miss out on a sale. It could be all sorts of different things that happen in response to a little bit of uncertainty. And I would say that there's a lot of bit of uncertainty that's in the environment right now. So I think a lot of people, in the business environment would look at certain countries and, shy away from them because of that instability that's going on. There's a lot of instability, lots of nationalism that's happening around the world, where people are redefining borders and thinking about what it means to be a citizen of their country. So how do you actually deal with this? First of all, I think, I remember asking somebody that was from a war-torn country, and she was there when there was some, war that was going on, and she was she was very much a part of it and part of the conversation. And I sort of asked, how do you deal with it? How did you get anything done? And, her response was, you just put your nose down and try not to pay attention to what's going on around you. And I think that's honestly what you have to do in these moments where there's lots of global instability. And we have to sort of just put your nose down, make the decisions with the information that you have at hand to the best of your ability. And if it doesn't work out, if there's some sort of problematic thing that happens in response, then not to beat yourself up. I think the sort of emotional response that we get are a really big deal, and we neglect a lot of that information. or a lot of that in business, but it's actually the heart of business, right? Relationships, doing what's right, knowing that you just have to continue sort of pushing forward. All of those things are very much an emotional processes, and very much political processes as well, right? And negotiation is probably more the biggest biggest thing. Negotiating with others, and negotiating with your ego, your mind, in your head, right? So that voice that's in your head, and sort of coming to terms with who you are. All of this you have to think about. If I make these decisions and crap happens, there's nothing that I can really do with that, and I simply have to go with what I have and just keep working forward, and sort of ignoring that environment as much as you can. And that is a little unusual, because strategy, a central tenet of strategy, is that you should be scanning your environment, or paying attention to your environment and understanding what it's about. But here I am actually telling you to ignore the environment, because I think the environment sometimes gives, that there's sometimes false signals, and you just get a lot of nervousness over nothing. Actually, that's lots of times. But then, as well as even if you did everything to the best of your ability, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you can't really change that. So having some information, knowing, broadly speaking, is important to sort of make those decisions, to sort of make appropriate choices. But then as well, know that all hell can break loose at any time, and you have to be okay with that, whatever that means, and sort of forecasting where you're going to go. So by all means, if I was in certain parts of the world right now that is undergoing some looks like there's going to be conflict that's happening in the next little while, I would certainly be making some very important decisions in my life, and what it means to be in that region, and continue on and see if I can find safe locations. I think it's very important to think about that. Your safety, what's going to happen over the next little while, we honestly cannot say. But, you just keep moving forward, you keep taking those steps forward, and you do the best of your ability. I mean, if you think about sort of a really good, I don't know if you've heard of or read of Viktor Frankl's work on, he was an academic, I think, psychologist, I think, but he was also in a concentration camp. And he told about his experience of how you deal with this, and you just simply have to just deal with it and go forward, knowing with what you have, and just appreciate the day-to-day that you actually have. It's honestly, I think that's the important thing. If we worry about what's going to happen over the next 5-10 years, there's a lot that's probably likely going to happen. There's equal chance of many different things happening at this moment. We don't really have a good answer. So we just simply have to just keep going and focus on what we do best at this moment. And when the time comes, make, the appropriate decisions, but just keep taking those steps forward one day at a time, trying to smile and, do as good a job as possible. All right. So with that, take care and have a wonderful day.